So, today we're going to dig into a business mystery that seems to defy all logic. It's the story of a flower shop called Petals and Stems and their baffling case of the missing visitors.
You know that message you get sometimes? It looks like you are misusing this feature by going too fast. But what happens when a business gets the same kind of warning? Not from an app, but from its own data. Can a company actually grow too fast?
And that, right there, is the big question at the heart of our story today. We're going to follow this strange and honestly paradoxical journey of a flower shop named Petals and Stems through the year 2025. And what they found out is a lesson that pretty much every business owner needs to hear. Okay, so the year kicked off, and for them, it was pretty much picture perfect. In the first quarter, business wasn't just good, it was absolutely blooming. I mean, their Q1 report paints, well, a pretty rosy picture. The business was just firing on all cylinders, and that momentum felt completely unstoppable. And the headline number? Whoa. Website visitors were up 28% compared to the same time last year. That is a huge jump in online traffic. And this chart here really tells the whole story. Now, what's super important is that this wasn't just, empty clicks. That 28% jump in visitors actually led to a 4% bump in revenue and 3% more orders. So by every single metric, things were moving up and to the right.
All right, so moving into Q2, the big question on everyone's mind was, can they keep this up? And the answer, oh yeah, they could. The report for the second quarter proved that Q1 was definitely not a fluke. The momentum didn't just continue, it was actually speeding up.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Look at the revenue, a 19% increase year over year. That is a massive leap. It's a sign that the business wasn't just getting bigger, it was getting way more profitable.
So let's wrap up the first half of the year. We've got strong double-digit growth everywhere you look. Revenue up 19%, visitors climbing 16%, orders up a really healthy 12%. I mean, at this point, Petals and Stems looked absolutely unstoppable.
But then, just when it seemed like they could do no wrong, something changed. The second half of the year brought a twist that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. A sudden, totally unexpected wilt. And bam, in the third quarter, from July to September, their website visitors just fell off a cliff. A staggering 53% drop compared to last year. What on earth happened here? And you might think, okay, maybe that was just a fluke, a bad quarter. But nope, the fourth quarter confirmed it was a real trend. Visitors were down again, this time by 43%. All that explosive growth from the first half of the year, it just vanished. So what in the world was going on? This is where the story gets really, really cool. It's time to put on our detective hats and solve this thing, the mystery of the missing traffic.
And this right here is the central paradox. The problem is crystal clear. Website visitors absolutely plummeted. But here's the puzzle. Their revenue didn't. In fact, their revenue kept growing through this whole period. How is that even possible?
Okay, here's our first clue. We gotta look at their Google business profile. That little map and info box you see in a search? Now, while their website clicks were way down, check this out. Actions people took from that profile, like asking for directions, were up over 28%. This tells us that more people were physically trying to get to the store. These weren't just random people browsing online, these were customers with high intent, ready to walk in the door.
And clue number 2. The shop got really smart. They built what are called custom city pages on their website. Think of them as hyper-focused landing pages for people searching for florists in specific nearby towns. And look at the results. These pages brought in hundreds of brand new users in Q3 alone. Now, that might not sound like a huge number, but these were high-value local customers who were ready to pull out their wallets. They were basically filtering out all the online noise and getting straight to the serious buyers. And that brings us to the final piece of this puzzle, the average order value, or AOV. This table is so important. It shows that even as traffic was cratering in the second half of the year, the amount of money each customer was spending was consistently going up. They had fewer customers, for sure, but they were better customers who were spending more each time they bought something.
So let's put all these clues together. It all leads us to the great 2025 paradox for Petals and Stems, a classic battle of quantity versus quality.
When you pull back and look at the entire year, the final numbers are just wild. Total website visitors dropped by a whopping 27.5%. On paper, that should be a total disaster, right? But look at the revenue. Total revenue for the year grew by over 11%. They made more money. They traded a huge chunk of their traffic for higher quality customers, and man, did it pay off.
Which really leaves us with this one big, fascinating question to chew on. If you have fewer customers, but those customers spend more money, making your business more profitable, did you actually win? It kind of forces you to redefine what growth even means. What do you think?